Welcome back, friends. Today we are going to study about gear design. So first, what we need to know about the gears. First is types of gear. Second one is the terminologies and nomenclature of the gears. Third is the force transmitted by the gears, and fourth is the design of the gear and design of the gear box. Right? If we complete the study of the types of gear, terminology, force which are transmitted from the gears and design of the gear, then we complete the total study about the different kind of gear design and gearbox design, right? So in the gears chapter, we have to study only four questions. One, terminology. Second, force transmission. Third is the design, and fourth one is the failures, right? So first we are going to study further in the gears, the types of gears. There are four types of gears are available. First is spur gear, helical gear, bevel gear, and worm gear. In general, there are number of different kind of gears are also available, like pinion, right? Axial pinion is also there, one kind of a gear, right? So the spur gear, helical gear, bevel gear, and worm gears are the different kind of gears which are used to transmit the power and which are used to transmit the torque from one shaft to another shaft. Also, the gears are used for to generate a velocity ratio and to generate a different kind of speed, right? Spur gears. Spur gears are used in transmitting torque between parallel shafts. When two shafts are connected with or two shafts are connected with parallel, then the spur gears are used to transmit the torque from one to another. Helical gears. Helical gears are used in transmitting torques between parallel or non-parallel shafts. They are not as noisy as spur gears, right? So when the helical gears are used, so helical gears are used when used in transmitting torques between the when two shafts are contact in parallel or non-parallel, right? Means it is not necessary to have two shafts in parallel, but you can use the helical gears in place of spur gears as the requirement of the transmitting power. If if more torque should be transmit from one to another, then you have to use spur gear. But if it is not required to transmit high torque from one to another gears, then you can use the helical gears to decrease the noise level as compared to spur gear. These are the helical gears. Bevel gears are used to transmit rotary motion between intersecting shafts. Right? If two shafts are perpendicular each other, also you can say the axis of two shafts are coincide or intersecting, the bevel gears are used, right? Or you can say the rotary motion, to transfer the rotary motion, also you can say the motion will be transferred transfer to the perpendicular, right? If you have to transmit the power or you have to transmit the motion at the different axis, then you can use the bevel gears. Teeth are formed on conical surface. The teeth could be straight or spherical. Worm gears. Worm gears are used for transmitting motion between non-parallel and non-transmitting shafts, depending on the number of teeth engaged for single or double. Worm gear mostly used when speed ratio is quite high, 3 or more. Means when the shafts are non-parallel and also non-transmitting, right? Then the worm gears are used, or you can say if both motions are not same, if both motions are not same, like driver is reciprocating and driven, we should have to convert the reciprocating motion in the rotary motion, or you can say we have to transmit the rotary motion into the reciprocating motion. Then non-parallel, also non-transmitting shafts. Then we can use the worm gear, right? Also, if we are using the worm gear to transfer the motion, there are uh, then we can transfer the high torque between two shafts. So we can say that the worm gears are not used when the high torque should be transferred from one shaft to another shaft, or you can say the one gear to another gear. But we can transfer the high speed from one to another. Now, nomenclature. So one is the driver, one is the driven, pinion, gear, right? So driver is called as a gear, sorry, pinion, and driven is called as driver, right? So it could be changed. Pinion could be driven and gear could be driven. But which gear could be said as a driver and which gear could be said as a driven is if a gear which would be run with the help of electric power, or you can say which could be run with the help of electric power by itself, then it can be said as driver. But if the gear which runs with the help of another gear, speed, then it could be said as driven, right? Smaller gear is called as pinion and larger gear is called as the gear, right? In most applications, the pinion is the driver and the reduced speed, but it increase the torque, right? Here I write the word in most application the pinion is the driver, right? Somewhere the pinion is also be a driven where the gear is driver. Now this smaller pinion is having smaller diameter, so it could be decrease the speed, but the torque is increase. Internal spur gear system. In internal spur gear system, there are two kind of system could be used. One is internal gear and outer gear, and second system is a pinion and rack. Rack is not having a circular periphery, but it's a rectangle, or you can say it's a linear periphery. So the motion of the rack is reciprocating, and the motion of the pinion is rotary, right? Now, the important terminology which could be used in gear is addendum, dedendum, circular pitch, tooth thickness, clearance, dedendum circle, addendum circle, right? These are the important terminology which could be used in design of gear or to construct a gear. So first, what is the circular pitch? The circular pitch is the distance from one tip to the next along the pitch circle is pi d upon n, where pi d is the periphery of the circle and capital N is the number of teeth, right? Module. What is the module? Module is the d by n is the pitch circle by number of teeth, right? So you can say the circular pitch P equal to pi into m, right? So capital P is the diametral pitch, which could be taken as capital P is equal to capital N by D. So you can write the equation as small p into capital P is equal to pi. Here, different kind of terminology is given. The angle phi. Angle phi has the value of 20 to 25 degrees. Angle 14.5 have been also used. The gear profile is constructed from the base circle. Then additional clearance are given. Right. The pressure line, pressure angle, addendum circle, common tangent, right, center distance, all the terminology you have to study. Right. So let's see the different terminologies. The addendum. What is the addendum? First, the addendum is the top surface, or you can say the top periphery line of the teeth. Top periphery line of the teeth is called as the addendum. And the circle passing from all top surface of the teeth, circle passing from the top surface of the teeth is called as addendum circle. The bottom part of the teeth, is called as dedendum, and the circle which is passed from all the bottom part of the teeth is called as dedendum circle. Right now, some clearance is taken from the dedendum to base circle. Right. So one more terminology is there is the base circle. Base circle is the smallest circle of the gear on which the teeth are situated. Right. So the between base circle and dedendum there are a clearance is given, is called as clearance, and from the base circle is called as the clearance circle, and this clearance is taken, or this clearance is given to overcome the failure of the gear tooth when two teeth are meshed, or when the two gear are meshed. Right. Now working depth is the distance, the area between addendum to dedendum. The area between addendum to dedendum is called as the working depth at where the two teeth are meshed. Right. So the tooth thickness, circular pitch is also taken. Right. Pitch circle. Now the center of the teeth, or you can say the center of the addendum to dedendum, right, is the center of the teeth. All the circle which is passing from all center of the teeth, the circle which is passing from all center of the teeth is called as pitch circle. And from the pitch to the addendum circle, the distance between pitch circle to addendum circle is called as addendum. The distance between pitch circle to the dedendum circle is called as the dedendum. Right. Now there are standard gear teeth having different kind of equations for the addendum, dedendum, clearance, working depth, hole depth, tooth thickness, and face width. This table is given in the design data book. So it is not necessary that you have to remember this table for the exam, but it is necessary to use this table from the design data book to solve the example. You have to practice, otherwise you at the time of exam you can't be use this table, or you can't be able to use this table to solve the example. Now gear trains, right? So there are different kind of gear trains which are used to transmit the power from one shaft to another shaft. right? This is the same which would which you studied in fifth in belt drives, right? There are compound belt drives where the velocity ratio is taken as n5 upon n1, or you can say the last drive velocity to velocity of the first drive is equal to the driver value, driver product of the driver diameter divided by product of the driven diameter. The same as the n5 upon n1 is equal to driver gear n1, n3, and n4. The product of the driver gear is n1, n3, n4 divided by product of the driven gear is n2, n4, and 5. Now, the transmitted load. There are the capacity of the load transmitting of the gear could be different for all four gears, like the spur gear, bevel gear, worm gear, and helical gear. Right? So we had to equate, or we have to solve the equation, or we have to design this different gears as they can transmit the designated load. So with a pair of gears or a gear set, power is transmitted by force developed between the contacting teeth. When two teeth are meshed at one point, right, then the force which will be developed between the two contact or two teeth is important factor which are important for the power transmitted from one gear to another gear. Right? Suppose at the point P, the two teeth are meshed, then the pressure line on the direction of the pressure line, the normal force is acting at the pressure line, or the direction of the pressure line, the normal force is acting at the angle of phi, where the tangential component of the force is acting, and the radial component of the force is acting at the normal, or you can say in the direction of the center, in the direction of the center of the base, right? So the tangential component of the force which will be transmitted from the driver to driven is Ft is equal to Fn into cos phi, right? The geometry relation of the tangential component and radial component to the normal force. So Fr is equal to Fn into sin phi. Velocity is d upon twice omega. So d into 2 pi divided by 60 into 60 rpm. V is equal to pi d n upon 12, right? Pi d n upon 12, where d in mm, n in rpm, V is fpm, right? HP is equal to Tn upon 63,000 torque pound inch, right? HP is the horsepower. The horsepower means the power transmitted from the one gear to another gear, means power transmission capacity P is equal to T into N upon 63,000, where T is the torque and N is the speed. Ft is the 33,000 HP divided by V. So kilowatt, the power transmission capacity is Ft into V divided by 1000 is equal to T into N upon 9549, where T is in Newton into meter is the torque and N is the speed, which is taken as meter per second. Some useful relations. Bending strength of the gear tooth, right? Here the bending strength of the gear tooth, or you can say the force transmitting capacity, all the designated equation would be derived with the help of different kind of theories, right? So here the bending strength of the gear tooth is taken as sigma is equal to mc upon I, where m is the bending moment, I is the moment of inertia, right? C is the center distance. So m is equal to Ft into L, the moment or bending moment. I is the moment of inertia, Bt cubed by 12, and center distance is t by 2. So we can get the sigma is equal to 6ft divided by bt square. Earlier stress analysis of the gear tooth was based on a full load is applied to the tip of the single tooth and the radial load is negligible. The load is uniform across the with neglect frictional forces. The stress concentration is negligible. So the equation does not consider stress concentration, dynamic effect, etc. Right? So this equation which would be derived or which would be taken sigma is equal to 6ft divided by bt square is free from the stress concentration and dynamic effect which would be occurs on the gears during the running conditions, right? So we have to derive the equation when the stress concentration factor is also considerable and also the dynamic effect is occurs on the running conditions. So the design for the bending strength of a gear tooth, the AGMA fact method, right? There are different kind of stress and different kind of factors. Overload factor, velocity factor, size factor, and mounting factor and geometry factor could be used and in the AGM method to design the gear tooth, right? So that's it for today. We will study about the design of the gears in our next lecture.